Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kayla Smith, CEO of the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L Society, a woman's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching, creator of the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L method, an infertility warrior, two-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really any symptom of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly because we will be interviewing amazing experts in the field of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're just beginning your fertility journey or you've been struggling for years, we are going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Are you ready? Thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's get started on your road to transformation. Hey, gorgeous. Welcome back to the show. I am so excited to have you here. Each week, we're going to talk to some amazing experts and really dive into topics all around fertility. So you're not going to want to miss a single show. If you haven't already, take a minute and hit that subscribe button. That will ensure that you never miss a single episode. So we'll take 1 second. We can wait. Hit that button and make sure you're all set. Also, I would be forever grateful if you would leave us a review on iTunes. This will help more people find this show, and it will allow us to help even more women on their journeys with fertility and hormones. And this is how iTunes decide who is shown what. So this way you can do your part to help the infertility community, and it would make me so very excited. So thank you. I would be forever grateful if you would do that for me. Thanks, gorgeous. And now let's get on with the show. Jennifer Robertson is a fertility coach and has helped women all over the world to transform their mindset and take back control of their life in the midst of infertility. Throughout her 7-year fertility journey, Jen discovered that her old ways of pushing and working hard were not serving her. She is now using the lessons she learned along the way to develop programs and support those who are still struggling to conceive. Most recently, Jen is an author of The Injustice of Infertility, a true story of heartbreak, determination, and never-ending hope. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, super exciting. Finally launching my podcast. So really exciting.
Well done.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about who you are and how you got here.
Yeah, for sure. So let me paint a picture for you. I am your typical type A personality. I am driven. I like order. I like process. I like schedules. And so when my husband and I decided to get married, we started having a baby, like on our honeymoon. That was the plan. And I was 33 at the time. And for the next 7 years, we struggled. We struggled with fertility. We went through 9 IVF cycles. We had 2 miscarriages. We eventually had our little boy via a surrogate, and then I fell pregnant naturally. So fertility was a real chunk of my life. And so now I am a mom of 2 children, 2 sweet children I'm very blessed with. I'm a wife, and I'm a fertility coach. So I now support other women who are going through the exact same things that I'm going through. So yeah, I'm a fertility survivor, and I'm also an author now. So
yay! I saw that.
Yes, I'm just releasing my book, The Injustice of Infertility, which is basically a true story of my battle with infertility.
I love that. Yeah. And we'll get into talking about that in a little bit because I definitely want to hear more about your book. I find that so many of us in this space, that's how we got here. You know, we have our own stories with infertility. So I know a lot of people listening can relate. So I love
Absolutely.
that.
And I think at the time it's horrible and you wouldn't wish it on anything, but I love the fact that we are able to make something good happen from something that is really so devastating.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know I always say that I'm so glad it wasn't in vain that I struggled for that long because now I can help other women not have to struggle, hopefully the way that I did. So it all comes full circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me one thing you wish you had known before all of this started.
Okay. One thing that I wish that I had known was how long it was going to take me. I wish that I had known that it was 7 years because I went into it thinking it's going to be over soon. It's going to be over soon. And even after we'd been on our journey and trying to conceive for 2 years by ourselves, and we then found my sister-in-law who was agreed to be a surrogate for us, I then thought it's going to happen straight away now. And because I thought that it was just around the corner, I didn't invest in myself. I just didn't take care of myself, my mindset or anything like that because I just thought it's going to be over soon. So, and when I get to the end, it doesn't matter anymore. But what happened was I struggled. Like I really struggled emotionally and physically, but more emotionally. And it was because I just didn't take the time to take a pause or take a breath or look at my emotional state and try to get some support or some help. So that's the one thing I wish I had known that it was going to take me so long so that I would have known that I had to really take care of myself.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful that you say that because so many of us, we think we have sex and then we get pregnant. It's going to be that easy. And then when it's not, you're almost in this like, I got to get pregnant. You're in this do, and you don't stop to think what's suffering because of that. You know, your life is suffering, your lifestyle, your mindset, all of it. So it's so
and
powerful.
I think it's because the longer you're on this journey, the more it really consumes you, and you're not aware of it. You know, it's not something that we choose. It's just day by day, inch by inch, everything gets sucked into this vortex of fertility, and we get consumed by it, and it's so hard to pull ourselves out once we're inside of that. So yeah, in hindsight, I wish that I had known that would have happened to me, and so perhaps I would have been more aware of it, because that's the thing that we really struggle with is awareness in this process.
Yeah, I know I heard somebody say one time that you're in fertility, like you're in it, you're in the thick of it. And I was like, man, that's so fitting.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Definitely. So talk to me about some lessons that you learned along the way that you want to help others, not have to struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, one of the big lessons I learned was my mindset. My mindset was so important. Those thoughts that I had in the back of my head that were going around and round. And I wish that I'd known that if I was just aware of them, that it could have helped me a lot. And, one of the other things was, like, I thought that I was crazy. I thought that I was a bad person because all of the thoughts were going through my head that I couldn't be happy for other people who were being, who were falling pregnant. I couldn't, I was struggling with finding hope. Everyone was like, oh, you need to be hopeful and all of that. And I really struggled with all of that. And I boiled it down to the fact that I was a bad person, but now I know that it's not that at all. So one of the big lessons that I learned was that you're not your thoughts, and you do have the ability to alter them. But above all, anything else, the big lesson was that you just need to be gentle with yourself and realize that you're not superhuman. I think that we try to be, we try to be good wives and, great employees and great friends and all of these different things on the outside, and on the inside, it's just not matching up. And that's where the internal struggle can really begin. So that was a big lesson, just the thoughts, the mindset, the fact that it didn't make me a bad person. Another big lesson, as I said before, is just taking care of yourself, taking the time out. There's so many things that I really would have done different to allow it to make it a little bit easier for myself.
Yeah. And I talk about that a lot. Mindset controls so many pieces of this fertility journey that I don't think enough people talk about. We talk about the physical things that you can do to boost your fertility, the food you can eat and don't stress and all of that. But I don't think enough people are talking about mindset. So I love that you talk about that and that you say that.
Yeah. And I think the reason why people don't want to talk about it, well, it's hard. It's really hard. It's not just this one thing that, you can do. You can do an exercise or you can do a quick course and then it's over. It is a continual process. And even now I'm out the other side, it's still a continual working process. And fertility for me was something that I really needed to start that ball rolling, because mindset affects us, not just in infertility, but absolutely everything. I think, infertility is something that brings everything that's bubbling underneath to the surface.
Definitely. So talk to us a little more about some techniques that people can do to maybe, shift their mindset.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I am, as I said before, I'm a typical type A personality. So I was told to do all of these things. I Googled. I wasn't told. I Googled all of these
Right.
things that I should
Dr.
be doing.
Google.
And so, yes, and so a lot of it was around, calming practices like meditation and yoga and all of these different things. And for me, what happened when I was told to meditate, it caused more stress for me, because how does someone who doesn't know how to sit still, doesn't know how to quiet their mind, feels guilty for not being productive every second of the day, feels guilty for not moving and having a clean house and all of those things? How does someone like that find the time and the ability to meditate?
Right.
So, yes. So something that I've created is a guide on how someone like that can learn how to meditate. And it's all about getting that picture that you had in your head of meditating and converting it. It's not like you're the Dalai Lama or anything like that, because we have this, like having a baby, we have this picture in our head of how things are supposed to be. You're supposed to get married, have the baby, and it's supposed to be this beautiful thing. And that's what really kicks us. It kicks us over, because that picture in our head isn't stacking up. And for me, meditation was exactly the same. I had these visions and it just wasn't stacking up, and I was already feeling like a failure. And so me trying to meditate, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't even meditate. How am I supposed to have a baby when I can't meditate? So for me, it was removing that picture that I had in my head of what meditation was supposed to be and just doing it little inch by inch. On my journey, I didn't meditate because I didn't know how to do it, because no one explained it to me. So, if you don't mind, I'll dive into meditating, because it's such a really important piece of the puzzle, because it forces us to slow down, which is something that we really struggle with. So for me, it was removing the picture that we have in our head of the perfect meditation. It is, if you can't empty your mind, like, that's okay. Like, giving yourself a little bit of grace. There are always going to be thoughts that are coming up. You don't get to usually choose the first one, but you get to choose the second one, and you get to send it on its way as well. So that, like, seeing it as a flow. What else? Having a look and if you can't clear your mind, putting another word in place of it. Instead of waiting for your mind to be clear, filling it up with something like love or calm or peace or just something beautiful like that. And you can also do a visualization from your head to your toes. You can do guided meditations, but I think it's just, they call it a meditation practice, and that's what it is. It's something that you can do inch by inch, and it doesn't have to be a 30-minute meditation. It can be 5 minutes. just 5 minutes here and there where you just sit and try to sit still and fill your mind with good things, good words and relaxation.
So talk to me a little bit about how mindsets affects your fertility and possibly your ability to conceive.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously mindset is a really big thing. In terms of your thoughts feed your emotions. So a lot of the time when we're on our fertility journey or just in life in general, you can get to a stage where you're feeling angry or frustrated and nothing physically has happened that's caused that. And it's actually the thoughts that are going on in the background that are feeding that emotion. So just being aware of it is really important. In terms of the effect that it can have on our fertility, I mean, we all know that stress is a big thing in trying to fall pregnant because it affects so many physiological things inside of our body. So when we're trying to keep into this calm state, then our thoughts can feed our emotions, and then that has an effect on whether we're calm or not. In terms of, and this is always such a little bit of a controversial topic around, can your mind and your thoughts affect your ability to have a baby? I think it's a bit double-edged. I don't think it's as simple as saying yes or no. I do believe that, in the power of abundance, yourself, when you're having a really great day, good things just happen. And when you're in that really low state, you'll trip over, you'll stub your toe, you'll burn yourself on your coffee, all of those things. So I really do believe in that as well. But when you're going into a cycle, I don't want it to, I don't want mindset to be something else that you punish yourself for. When you go into a cycle, let's say you go into an IVF cycle and at the point of transfer, you have this negative thought. Like, I don't believe that has the ability to make it work or not make it work. So mindset, absolutely. I feel like it really does play a part in anything that we do because it feeds our emotional state and it feeds our nervous system. Mm-hmm. But if you're chanting, I'm going to be a mum, I'm going to be a mum, I'm going to be a mum, and then you don't really believe it, then I don't believe that it has an effect on your fertility at all. So it's one of those things where absolutely we all want to be in that positive mindset, but when we use it as a way to punish ourselves, then I think that can be even more of a vicious cycle.
I definitely agree with that for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So talk to me a little more about how we can lessen this emotional toll that fertility takes on us and throughout our journeys.
Yeah. And that is a really tough one as well. What I think gets over the top of it is this emotional layer of expectation that we have of absolutely everything. So we go into a cycle and we're up here, we're like, this is amazing. And then we're down here when it doesn't work. And it really can create this, this roller coaster effect. And we find ourselves just holding on for dear life. Mm-hmm. So in terms of releasing some of that, yourself, when you receive bad news and you're tired, you're exhausted, when you're really at rock bottom to begin with, your ability to receive bad news when you're in that state is so much harder. Mm-hmm. And that's why, you'll drop your keys one day and all of a sudden you will start crying and you just dropped your keys. So I think it's really important to pour into yourself. And I'm hesitant to say that because it really is a cliche and that's what we're all talking about here. But, taking care of yourself, like going for walks, looking at your diet, meditating if you can, just taking the time out. And when you start pouring into yourself, and I guess you would call it self-care, go for a massage, get your nails done, do whatever. But when you're looking after yourself, your ability to withstand the emotional toll that this journey takes on us, and it is an epic experience that we all go through, then that will really help you out. I'm not saying that you can take away the pain of it. And in fact, I encourage anyone to sit in the pain. And that's what I do with all of my coaching clients. If they come off a cycle or if something doesn't work, they need to sit in that pain, because if they bottle it up, and this is exactly what I did on my fertility journey, I pushed it all down. And so what that created was this bottleneck. I was carrying so much stuff throughout my whole fertility journey because I just bottled it up. But if we can deal with the things as we go through it, and journaling, talking to someone that just something that releases it. Instagram is a really great platform, as well as a beautiful community over there. And people, women create Instagram handles that are completely anonymous just so that they can process the emotions as they go through. So finding something that really works for you and a way to process the emotions, because another big lesson that I learned on my fertility journey was when you get to the end, it doesn't disappear.
No.
Sure, you may have a baby which might mask it for a little while, and you will be happy, but the pain, the suffering, the grief, and that is exactly what we're going through. We are grieving everything, whether it's a miscarriage, whether it's that picture that we had in our head. It doesn't go away. It is like we are grieving, and we need to work out a way that we can deal with it along the way. I wish that I had known that when I was struggling, because it would have made things a lot easier. And me writing my book, I found that I was crying. I was crying as I was writing it. It was, if anyone had seen me, like my husband came in a couple of times while I was writing, and I'm at my computer, like belting away at the keyboard and just bawling my eyes out, because me walking through my fertility journey was me grieving it and reconciling it and going through it again, because at the time I didn't deal with it. So it's so doing all of those things can really, really lighten the load, because we carry so much just in life, but especially on our fertility journey, we've got the guilt, we've got all of those things that we carry so much. So it really helps to lighten that load as we go along.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I've heard it even described as trauma, whether you have the baby, you don't have the baby, maybe you've gone through miscarriage, but it's trauma that you carry with you. So if you don't release that in some way, then you're always going to carry it, and it's just going to eat you away inside. So I really love that you say that. And I was the completely same way. When I wrote my story in my book, I mean, it was the most therapeutic thing that I could have done. It was closure for that chapter. Even though I got my 2 boys, I still went through it. And I just remember bawling and writing and laughing and grieving and all of the things. So it can be very, very powerful.
So powerful. So powerful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. And I cannot wait to read your book. So let's dive into that. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is, as I said before, it's my story. It's called The Injustice of Infertility, which is exactly what it is. It's the unfairness of why one couple gets the fairy tale, and then you are sitting there and struggling. It's the injustice of infertility. And so basically it's my story, it's my truth. It's a completely raw and honest account of everything that I went through in my search of motherhood. And, it walks through the 7 years that I spent in absolute conflict with myself. On the outside, I was trying to remain strong and confident and positive and hopeful. And I was pretending that this wasn't affecting me as much as it was. But, on the inside, I was seriously crumbling. I was so angry and frustrated, and I tried so hard to be happy for other people who got their baby, but I just couldn't. So, there were 2 sides of me that were battling the whole time. And so this book dives into, the truth. It dives into the truth of what was going on inside my head. And, I'll be completely honest with you. There were parts in this book that I actually considered deleting, because, it actually makes me sound insane. I reveal the crazy thoughts where I question absolutely everything, and at the time because I didn't talk to a lot of people while I was in my journey, I really bottled it up and tried to pretend that this wasn't happening. So at the time, I thought that I was the only person who actually felt like this. I genuinely thought that I was crazy and that I was a bad person. And for for people who aren't familiar with infertility, they may think that I'm crazy if they happen to read my book. But, for those of us who know infertility, those of us who know the pain of a miscarriage or a negative pregnancy test or a friend who falls pregnant before us, my book will provide them with a sense of relief, because, and you would know this as well, infertility isn't just the inability to fall pregnant. It's so much bigger than that, and my story shows the impact that it can have on the strongest of people, how it can change you from this positive, happy-go-lucky, hopeful, strong, brave person, and it can really bring you to your knees and break you from the inside out. And that's exactly what I share in my book, But it's not just about the devastation and the loss and the grief and the crazy thoughts and the weird moments, because there are a lot of those weird moments, but it also shows the beauty and the strength and the determination of me, a woman who was so determined to become a mother, a woman who never gave up, a woman who never took no for an answer, who searched high and low and got there in the end. So I share the lessons that I learned along the way, and there were so many. So this book it'll take you on a roller coaster. You'll cry, you'll laugh, you'll cheer, you'll cry a little bit more, but most of all, if you're on this journey and you're struggling, it'll make you feel like you're not alone. So at the end of the day, this is a story of survival. It's a story of strength, and it's, determination and hope all rolled into one. It's my truth. I'm very proud of it.
Aw, I love it. And so when is it out now? When can we get it?
It's not out now as of our recording date, but it should be out very soon. So if anyone wants to know more about it, you can go onto my website at yourfertilityhaven.com, or another website that I'm creating at the moment for the book is jenniferrobertson.co.
Perfect. I can't wait to have my own copy. So yay. That'll be amazing. Awesome. So talk to me a little more about how you work with your clients. And if anybody listening wants to work with you, then they can learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a private coaching practice. I usually take a handful of clients on, and we walk through a five-step process that I have developed. So I have an online course that I run them through at the same time as doing one-on-one calls every single week with them. And they also get access to me 24/7. But we walk through this process of, how you can take back control of your fertility journey. And that's one of my big things. On my journey, I really lost myself, and we can walk around and we struggle. So the purpose of my coaching is so that they can take back control of who they are, their life, so that it doesn't consume them so much, so that they can actually walk through this and come out the end a better person. And these are all things that I have worked through myself in healing from my journey. So I don't know about you, but I love coaching. Seriously.
I do too.
It is one of those things where you can see light bulb moments, and just supporting women and providing them with the support that you didn't have on this journey. And for me, I went and saw counselors, but they hadn't been through it themselves. And I think more than anything, what I can provide my clients is a zero judgment free zone, because I've been through that and so much more. A lot of my clients will say to me, "Oh, I'm sorry for crying or for feeling this way." Like, no, I did that and so much more. So sometimes it's just giving them permission to think, feel, and be on this journey without it consuming them.
I love that. It sounds amazing. And that's exactly, what I tell my clients. I've been there. So many of the practitioners you see, they probably haven't. And so we can speak firsthand, and hold their hands through this whole journey. So I love that you say that. It's a very powerful thing.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the most important things on this journey, is just feeling like you're not alone, and that it's not just you, and that you're not crazy, because you're not crazy.
You're not crazy. I love it. Well, awesome. Well, you talked a little bit earlier about where people can find you, but tell us again, where can we find you? And this will also be in the show notes for everybody listening. So,
okay, so I have 2 websites that are going to be up and running. So www.yourfertilityhaven. And the offshoot of that is a free Facebook community that I do have as well called Your Fertility Haven, just a beautiful safe space where people can go. I jump in there and I do live videos and it's just connecting people. So that's one. And then I'm developing a new website at the moment, which is where you can find more about me, my coaching, my book, and that is jenniferrobertson.co. I'm also on Instagram. That's where I hang out. I love the community. So my handle is Miss Jennifer Robertson over there. And you can email me. You can find me wherever. I am always up for a chat. This is a subject that I'm very, very passionate about, and I want everyone to be able to have, not a good experience, but not be so consumed and buried by fertility struggles. I want people to have the good experience because they deserve it.
Exactly. Yes, I love it. So make sure you guys go and check out Jennifer and all her platforms, and tell us some final thoughts that you want to leave with the audience.
I guess the big thing is that you're not crazy. You're not the thoughts that are going on in your head. You know, in terms of being positive and brave and all of that, all of the time, none of us are. And I want to break away that mold of feeling like you have to be perfect, because the truth is none of us are perfect. None of us have gone into every single cycle with hope. None of us have been completely positive. All of us have cringed when we've heard a pregnancy announcement. So it's just that you don't need to be perfect. You're absolutely amazing as you are, and you're not crazy.
I love it. You're not crazy.
That's my motto. You are not crazy. You are human. You are human.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at CoachKayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant, not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. So make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.